So you've been sitting here wondering, hey boy, wait a minute. He's usually on time, but 2 minutes after 9 and I haven't seen him. Wuggo? Well, I'm still trying to answer that question. Wuggo, I'm not quite sure, but we did get started on the button at 9 o'clock, but then I noticed a little warning that we had not been able to access Facebook. One of those usual hiccups. Well, anyhow, we're up on Facebook right now, so a very good morning to you, my dear friends. It is a let's see, it's a Thursday morning, and it feels unusual being able to sit here this morning and not say, "Oh, what a beautiful morning! Look at all that sunshine and no clouds in the sky and all." Not this morning, folks. This morning, not raining, at least up to the last time I checked out there a few minutes ago. It was not raining, but it was totally overcast. Totally overcast. I haven't seen that in a couple of days. And I'm sure that not too many of you are going to be complaining about that because, yes, as you walk the streets, you hear people starting to say, well, boy, he looked like the dry season come. Yeah, looks like it's here. But this morning, indications are that they may be a little rain, maybe not. I don't know. I haven't checked for the forecast, but one way or the other, something is going to happen this morning. Now, let's take a look at the rundown. This morning we're talking soup, folks. Yeah, soup. Topic like that, you got to know who's involved. Anthony DeRiggs. Yeah. We're gonna keep things on a light note this morning. I don't know what Baczynski has when he gets here a little later on, but we're gonna start on a lighter note this morning, talking soup, Grenadian soup, and independent soup. I ain't gonna tip you off. You're just gonna have to wait for a few minutes and find out what Georgie Porgy's talking about. Then we have the national report for you. And as we know, every Thursday morning, yeah, Allan's at large. Allan's at large. So we'll have to see what he's got up his sleeves this morning, okay? So, pilgrims, talking about soup. Talking about soup. Let me tell you this. Anthony DeRiggs is with us this morning. You're about to find out about some of his escapades with soup. Some he loved, some he didn't. Ever had a soup that made you sweat? Ever compared chicken soup with penicillin? You heard me. You heard me. And let me ask you this one. Is it true that turtle soup, by the way, I didn't even know there was something called turtle soup. But anyhow, did you know that turtle soup is better than Viagra? You think I'm making all of this stuff up? Why would I? Check this out.
Talking soup, Grenadian soup. And this nice bowl of soup you're looking at here, give credit to Arthur hosting. What people could cook. Talking soup, Grenadian soup. Nothing could please some Grenadians more than a nice bowl of Spice Island soup. In fact, some have a special day in the week set aside for pouring soup down the hatch. One fella I know, well, he refused to talk to his wife for a whole week because she failed to make him his favorite cow foot soup. What we say cow heel soup. The man had already set his mind on the yam dumpling and the dasheen swimming around in the soup, but he was sadly disappointed. Well, you talk about nightmare. Well, he had something called soup-mare that night. And to make matters worse, she told him, if you like so much soup, why the hell you didn't get up and make it? Why you blasted self? All you do is lie down there like a mako. Make the soup for yourself. I reflect on the time a group of us were invited to gobble down some pigtail soup at a friend's house. So we went there, and the food was well prepared, very, very appetizing. Certainly indicative of Grenadian culinary talent. And we have it, we have it. After everyone had eaten, one bold-faced Grenadian, the man belched, and he stretched, turned to the person who had prepared the soup and said, now the food tastes nice, but next time, make sure you put a piece of snout in it, big snout. Now after consuming all that food, the man had the nerve to talk about pig snout. Getting it for free and talking about pig snout. What a bold-faced Grenadian. You think we easy, boy? I never liked breadfruit soup or pumpkin soup. Never like that. You see that pumpkin soup is very good for you. But all I do is eat the meat and the provision and leave the soup alone. Never liked pumpkin soup. Not so with dry pea soup, boy. I'll clean that up anytime. I'm still kicking myself for the time I threw away a whole bowl of pea soup, nice pea soup in Woodland, St. George's. We went there to pick peas. And we put on a pot right there. Cook up a nice pea soup. And I had my nice bowl there. And the maribone flew right into the bowl. Immediately, my appetite vanished. But I still sit down in Brooklyn sometimes and I dream of the soup. All that salt beef and sweet potatoes and yam that decorated it. I should have just pulled out of my bone, But you see, when you're a young gospel, you think differently. But I still think of that nice bowl of soup. The soup tasted better than the corn soup Presherman and them. They made on Utica once. Utica Avenue in Brooklyn. I still don't know how the cowhead soup the boys made in Calice a few years ago. Still don't know how it tasted because I had just jumped off an American airline flight at Morris Bishop International Airport and was immediately greeted with the invitation to nourish bones terrorized by the merciless New York winter. I said to myself, cowhead? Nah, boy, nah. I went looking for fish broth. Now, when I say that turtle soup, a turtle soup could make a dead turtle rise, They say turtle soup is better than Viagra. It can even stiffen the waters of Niagara. But turtle has its season in Grenada, and if you embark on a turtle soup diet, your mate will only smile when turtle in season And then you have to go right back to the good old reliable Tanya logs, the moss, and Babandi. Now, there are people who compare chicken soup to penicillin. All I know is that chicken soup would drive away a cold fast. Anytime you have a cold, try a chicken soup. You ever drank a hot soup that made you sweat? I sweat so much in Grenada once. Someone in the market in St. George's looked at me and asked if I was defrosting. You sweat so more than if you were digging bush yam in Birch Grove when you drink that hot soup. Well, people who thief bush yam thief so fast, they have no time to sweat, so I ain't talking about them. I ain't talking about them at all. And now to you ladies. You want to do a man? Nothing better than a callaloo soup. You never know what you put in there. Don't give him no lentil soup or mannish water goated soup. And if you give him that Chinese wonton soup, you have no chance of doing him. You can't hold a Grenadian man with that. No chance whatsoever. Callaloo soup. Finally, remember, please remember this. It's a soup you're making. So don't make the water long. And remember too, it's not porridge. It can't be too thick. It has to be just right. A perfect, mouth-watering Grenadian soup, like you see right here. You see that dumpling? Well, some people don't eat pig snout and them kind of thing, and so beef, some people would eat. Pigtail, some people stay away from that too. But anyway, each to his own choice. Now, you put a little pepper sauce. You could get it from the man that's still on the carronage or in Victoria. And enjoy your soup. You're a man, when you eat that, you're ready to drug up, bundle. Water's for the back, sir. Water. Water's for the back. Well, to all my Grenadian friends, and happy independence for the 5th independence anniversary. Try a soup. A nice Grenadian soup. Jane, you're cooking? Come in. Anthony Wendell the Riggs. Why you ain't see them peas?
You know that man? Anthony? Anthony Wendell de Riggs. And by the way, I saw just a few minutes ago that he did join us on Facebook this morning. Anthony, thank you so much, my friend. Always good to remember those days. Look forward to your next piece. Now, let me say good morning to the folks out there on FB this morning. Lori is saying, once again, a wonderful morning to everyone. And Veronica is saying good morning, everybody, from a freezing New York. Yaman. Hello, New York. Peter Bishop saying good morning to you, George, and the rest of the class on this cold morning here in Long Island. Where it's 3 degrees Celsius, but feels like minus 17 degrees Celsius. Hope you got your mitts, San Pedro. Want me to send you some cranberry juice? Ha ha ha. Kidding. Glennon Knights is saying good morning, good day, everybody. And Fitzroy Adams, good morning, George. I'm in a freezer. It's only 2 degrees in Brooklyn. Yeah, man. It's cold. You don't have to rub it in. I get it. It's cold. And yes, I commiserate with you. I'm sympathetic to you, towards you. But what can I do? What can I do? I haven't seen TF this morning, which means that he's he's probably frozen solid in the middle of Brooklyn somewhere. I don't know. Folks, that's going to do it for um, Anthony. And up next, we have got coming your way the National Report.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
Renlec, energizing our Grenada.
Labukan Creative Center in association with Spice Basket presents Mayhem in Paradise.
All the time you complaining I never had a steady job. Now I get an opportunity to get a permanent one. And woman, you acting up? I acting up? Yes, and you know why I didn't tell you, man? It's because of your stupid attitude, man.
My stupid attitude?
Yes.
You come this early morning pulling cutlass at me, right?
It's a play by Francis Urias Peters, together with a nostalgic folk musical journey, plus the Tivoli drummers at Spice Basket, Wednesday, February 6th. Tickets from Grenadian Optical and Kittens Drug Mart at $40 each. Children 12 and under $25 at the door. It's a special independence production of drama, folk music and dance, produced by Urias Peters, Wednesday, February 6th at Spice Basket, 8:30 p.m.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Grenada rolls out pre-feasibility phase for Climate Smart City project. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, January 30th, I am Rakisha St. Louis. Officials from the New York University and the Green Climate Fund are meeting with key stakeholders and government officials in Grenada to roll out the pre-feasibility phase for the first Climate Smart City project. The project focuses on areas within zones highly vulnerable to climate change. These include the Carenage, developments to the southern corridor from Point-Salin to the National Stadium, and Grenville, with attention being placed on Soubise and Marquis, with concerns of sea level rising. Head of the NYU team, Dr. Angus Friday, says the meeting seeks to formulate ideas to make the Carenage the central hub for economic and urban renewal. He says the pre-feasibility phase will be wrapped up in summer of 2019.
Since then, we have actually been a number of missions. 2 missions have followed so far, where they have been engaging with many of the folks here in the room to help to shape the project further. But as we go along, it's really about building up capacity in Grenada so that we can really shape this project and see it all the way through to fruition. Right now, we're really at what we call the pre-feasibility stage. And so it's very important at this stage to get a lot of the ideas in from folks in the room so that we can really help to further shape and mold the project so that it's something that we all truly own and believe in.
Climate Resilience Minister Honorable Simon Steele says climate change is real and its effects can no longer be ignored. He stressed the need for the meeting with officials from NYU and the Green Climate Fund to end with solid plans that can result in funding to make the project a reality.
It is the pragmatic approach that is being taken by the team, by government, to ensure as we go through the technicalities of building the climate arguments, the data that is necessary to support the project proposals, the concepts that will come out of this. But it's identifying concrete interventions that can attract climate financing. So at the end of this, we will have 9 concepts, bankable concepts, that with further development into formal proposals can be taken to agencies such as the Green Climate Fund, other donors for financial support.
At the end of the pre-feasibility phase, an application will be made to the Green Climate Fund for additional funding for the feasibility phase. 3 days of intense zonal competition on the 6th, 15th and the 22nd of March will serve as the preliminaries for what promises to be an exciting secondary school games final at the National Stadium on April 5th. The games are in response to the cancellation of Intercall by the Grenada Association of Principals of Secondary Schools and will be held on regular school days to ensure maximum participation by students and teachers. Mr. Cullen Peters is the chairperson of the organizing committee for the Grenada Secondary School Games. He says because of the ministry's promotion of sports at the community and parish levels, it was not difficult to introduce the National School Games in the absence of Intercall.
The schools in the southern region basically is from Wester Hall, those in St. George's Town, and Boca. This sports will be held at Tantine on the 6th of March. The objective of all the sports is basically to act as the preliminaries for the final on the 5th of April at the National Stadium. We'll have all the categories. We have from the under 9, we'll have some invitational race for the primary schools. We'll have under 15, under 17, under 20, and 20 plus. The best time finals, so the best 2 persons from each category will go on to the final at the National Stadium. As the minister has alluded, we met with the coaches, we met with the PE teachers, and we expect the support. The sports on the 15th of March, we'll move to the western side at Cuthbert Peters Park for the schools from Happy Hill, go up to McDonald College, St. Joe's, all the schools in that region. On the 22nd of March, we'll move to Grenville. The eastern side will take up from St. David's Catholic, go up to all the schools in St. Andrews. And we'll also include Carrico and Petit Martinique in the northern zone on that same day.
Peters says there will be track events only at the zonal level.
We're looking to start from 9 to 3, but that will be dependent on the level of participation, because we have a time finals. So from one, let's look at it for one maybe event, maybe let's say the under 15 boys. If you have over 10 hits, it will definitely show back the time. But when we spoke to the PE teachers and coaches yesterday, we let them know that in some instances we may have to have an additional day in the different zone, just with the interest. But we are looking to stay within that time, and we are asking of the support. For the final on the 5th of April, we are asking the team, because we have 4 zones, we have 8 lanes, so 2 persons per zone will qualify automatically. We are asking the teams to select, through any selection method, to select 3 persons per zone for the field events for the national. It will be difficult to host the field events on the one day at a zonal level. A matter of fact, that will request about 3-4 days. So the field events will be held at the final at the National Stadium with automatical selection.
Deputy Chairperson of the Organizing Committee for the Grenada Secondary School Games, Mr. Jerry Alexis, says they are committed to both the academic and sporting development of the nation's students, many of whom look forward to scholarship opportunities to take them further in life.
it's a wonderful opportunity for us because many of us know that many of our students are looking forward towards scholarships. You know, the opportunity to get into a junior college into the United States or in some university out there. And sports is one of the platform for that. So when we realized that, you know, this wasn't happening, we see it fit to seize the opportunity to make sure we have something in place so these kids could compete on a level that will provide that opportunity for them.
Minister for Education and Human Resource Development, Honorable Emmeline Pierce, says since the announcement last week of their intentions to stage the games, they have met with principals of secondary schools and physical education teachers to inform them of government's intention to have the national school games in the absence of intercall. She also says a number of private companies have expressed interest in sponsoring the games, but they have not settled on whether they want one title sponsor or a number of private sector companies all making a contribution. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
The pride and joy of a nation is its flag. Its colors and arrangement makes it significant and stunningly beautiful. On Wednesday, February 6th, it's National Colors Day. Every proud Grenadian is asked to deck off in clothing highlighting the colors of our flag. Whether you are dressed for work, daily routines, or casual engagements, showcase the true Grenadian spirit. Every ministry, every department, and all workplaces are encouraged to join in. National Colors Day, Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Endorsed by the National Celebrations Committee. Our people, our colors, our day. On Wednesday, February 6, National Colors Day.
Welcome back. The Grenada Spice Mass Corporation has a new Chief Executive Officer. He is Mr. Kelvin Jacob, who will be on secondment for 2 years. Mr. Jacob, who takes up the post from Friday, February 1st, replaces Kirk Seaterhall, who resigned last year after serving in that position for 3 years. Culture Minister Senator Norland Cox, who made the announcement during the weekly post-cabinet briefing on Tuesday, said he is encouraged by Mr. Jacob's strong passion for culture and believes he has what it takes to move the culture forward.
We look forward to working with Mr. Jacob. He has a wealth of experience in the cultural arena. He has done some work adjudicating several cultural events. He's a teacher. He's an educator. He has been doing that for a number of years. And with his background, academically as well, strong academic background in the particular area, he holds a master's degree in carnival studies. And we believe that with all these attributes, he can make a significant contribution towards moving Spice Mass and Carnival in Grenada from 2019 and beyond.
According to a press release from the SMC, Mr. Jacob has been involved in culture and carnival over the past 2 decades, and his contribution is recognized throughout Grenada. Mr. Jacob is an appointed teacher in the public service and holds the position of vice principal at UC. He holds a master's degree in carnival studies from the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Finally, in a show of culture and patriotism, residents on the sister isle of Petite Martinique commemorated their 45th Independence Parish celebrations. Held at the newly established Petite Martinique playing field, the celebrations were addressed by the Governor-General, Her Excellency Dame Cecile La Grenade, who recognized the strides of Carriacou and Petite Martinique over the past 45 years.
Our country's overall development over the past 45 years as an independent nation continues with visible signs of enhanced economic activity noticeable everywhere. I am happy that Carriacou and Petite Martinique are not being left behind. Development is taking place here as well at a remarkable rate. All of this can be attributed to the foresight of our leaders over the years, the sacrifices and determination of all citizens who have demonstrated love for country and the desire to see improvements on our beautiful Caribbean islands. The vision to establish St. George's University, the Maurice Bishop International Airport, our cruise ship port, our athletic and cricket stadia, the Harvey Vale Port have spurred our economic growth and development and provided economic opportunities for many citizens, both young and old.
Addressing her constituents, Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs, Honorable Kindra Mathurin Stewart, highlighted some of Grenada's accomplishments over the years.
So after 45 years of independence, we can recall the good and the not so good, but we can boast of the good. We can speak about revolution, invasion, international airport, cruise ship terminal, mini stadium, new port, housing project, new parliament building, the restoration of public service pension, pending national health insurance, oil explorations, roads, and the list can go on and on.
The celebrations also featured awards to residents of Petite Martinique in areas of business, sports, community services, and fishing. The celebrations also included the customary parade with displays by the Royal Grenada Police Force, accompanied by the police band. That story just ended the national report for today, Wednesday, January 30th. Recapping the top story. Grenada rolls out pre-feasibility phase for Climate Smart City project. On behalf of all those who made this newscast possible, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, it's now, let's see here, for 24 minutes away from 10 o'clock. And just before I get to Mr. Baczynski, let me pay attention here to a few notes from you folks on Facebook. Samantha McFarland Thomas says, tell them give the teachers back their pay. Okay, Samantha, I'm telling them. By the way, Mr. Baczynski, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, Mr. Baczynski is hearing me now. We'll get to him in just a wee bit. Lydia James says, and by the way, we have to make it clear who she's referring to here. Lydia, during the newscast, when the Minister of Education was speaking, Lydia said, I can't stand that woman. She sounds so much like a bully. She is forgetting that she was a teacher too. Maybe she wasn't, because she was always she always used would have when the actual thing was done. I hear you. I hear you. Peter Bishop says, and this time he's talking about the Governor General and her comment. Peter quietly says, "What development was taking place in Carriacou, Dame?" Okay. I hope somebody passes your message on to her, Pedro. He's also saying, and poverty too, Minister, don't forget. Lydia James says, oh my gosh, poor Grenada on the audio. She's commiserating with us. Pilgrims, it's now 22 minutes away from the hour. I have kept him waiting. But he's here. Let me say good morning to Mr. Allan Brzezinski. There he is. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm extremely disappointed that I was unable to hear the GIS program. I would have enjoyed it, I'm sure.
You know,
so not having heard it, my attention necessarily has to be directed overseas to that favorite buffoon of mine in the White House.
Hold on, before you get to your favorite buffoon, just let me say this, Allan. You know, this thing is so ridiculous. It's become a national joke. This would have thing, it has become a national joke.
Well, since I believe that the people who are monitoring this program probably several are resident overseas.
Yes.
I think it would now qualify as an international joke.
Yeah, it's an international joke. And that's very, very sad, you know, because these people don't even realize that people are laughing at us. And I refuse to believe that no one has ever made mention of this to the goodly lady. I refuse to believe it.
Well, one would expect that if anyone were to consider raising the issue, they would be subject to immediate transfer.
Aha, you understand. You understand the way things work in this place.
Only from looking at the news.
Yeah. Just last night, I see where the head of
the transfers.
Public Workers Union, Rachel Roberts.
More transfers, yes.
More transfers, man. More transfers. Anyhow, I interrupted you there for a minute.
So my favorite buffoon.
Your favorite buffoon.
So now that it appears that more and more individuals associated with his campaign are being hauled into the net of the special counsel, naturally they're looking for distractions. So for example, the White House press secretary, whom I've heard variously referred to as Sarah Huckabee and Hucker Sands and so forth. Yesterday she came out with a classic that people need to understand that Donald Trump is president because God wanted him to be. Now, I find the hypocrisy of these so-called evangelicals beyond belief. She apparently is able to commune with the Almighty and has been informed that God wanted Trump to be president. The other distraction that they are engaged in is the public musings that all options are on the table with regard to dealing with the humanitarian and the governmental crisis in our neighboring country, Caribbean coastline. It has a large Caribbean coastline, Venezuela. But Venezuela has a much larger coastline with neighboring countries, Brazil, Guyana, and Colombia. And these countries, Brazil, Guyana, and Colombia, are the ones who, for the last several years, have been dealing with the fallout of the criminal military dictatorship that has been running Venezuela. And so the buffoon in Washington is trying to use the sad situation in Venezuela as a distraction to take people's attention away from the impending closing of the net by the special counsel. Now, other people closer to home, whom I saw on television last night, dressed up in various costumes, these people seem to crawl out from under their rocks whenever the opportunity presents itself to promote non-intervention and democracy and everything else, and to oppose, as a matter of principle, imperialism in all its forms. Now, I am a firm supporter of non-interventionism. I believe in the OAS Charter that all of these problems have to be resolved with the good intentions of the people, and failing that, then the good offices of neighboring countries, particularly those which have treaty relations, such as the OAS. Now, it is a matter of record which seems to have escaped the three stooges who were on TV last night in their various costumes, that the National Assembly in Venezuela, which was voted into office by a majority of the electorate, was effectively made null and void by the criminal dictator Nicolas Maduro. That was in May of 2018. I didn't see these three stooges come on TV then to complain. One of them in particular last night was talking about how important it is for us to express solidarity with, in his view, he says the Venezuelan people, but what he means is the criminal military dictatorship, which has raped the Venezuelan national patrimony for 15 years. Nevertheless, he was saying that through PetroCaribe, they have made it possible for people in Grenada to buy 20-pound cylinders of gas for $40, but he wasn't sure. So he had to ask the others. I'm pretty certain none of them has actually ever had to go and buy a 20-pound cylinder of gas because they didn't know. But because I wanted to be sure myself, I went onto the website of the government of Grenada, finance.gd, and I looked up petroleum prices.
That's gov.gd.
No, finance.gd. Just finance.gd.
Okay, so that's probably the Ministry of Finance's website.
Yeah,
It's not
precisely.
the government.
Ministry. Because I'm looking, because I know every 17th or 18th of the month, petroleum prices are adjusted. And it comes out in the Gazette. But anyhow, so I'm looking on the finance website, and the last press release there regarding petroleum prices is dated April 2018. Now, that is what you call a website.
Well, that's interesting because, hold on a minute, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was only last week. I could verify this, but I think it was only last week they sent a recent update. They usually send those. They don't send them as often as they used to, but I got one last week.
The notice is required to be sent out prior to the change in petroleum prices every month.
Yeah.
So I know that the notice goes out. I am staggered to find out that the last one, according to the website I went on this morning, is dated April 2018. So it is not to say that the notices don't go out. They do. It's that the website appears to be out of date.
Okay, I hear you. Okay.
So anyhow, so I still don't know what is the price of a 20-pound cylinder from PetroCaribe. But I'm in good company of the other three people who were on TV last night in their various costumes. Now, let's get back to interventionism and non-interventionism. So as I said, I am a firm supporter of non-intervention, except when as in the case of Grenada, over a period of time, more than 3% of the population was incarcerated without charge. When a dusk to dawn curfew is implemented with the threat of being shot on sight for anyone breaking the curfew, when the only remaining legal authority in the person of the Queen's representative, the late Sir Paul Schoon, was informed by the murderers, and I refer to them as murderers because the fact that they murdered cannot be expunged regardless of them spending 28 years in jail. Nevertheless, the murderers went to the Governor General and told him that the bodies of those who had been slaughtered in a crossfire would be returned to the families in due course, when they knew that the remnants of these bodies had been scooped up and placed in a truck and dumped in a pit in Calvini. These crimes cannot be forgotten. These three stooges are the ones who say there must be no intervention under any circumstances. I agree that there are no circumstances in Venezuela which would warrant military intervention, because the reality is that the Venezuelan people will deal with the problem. Now, why did Maduro become president? Because he was the designated successor of Hugo Chavez. Why did Chavez become president? Because prior to some elections about 15 years ago, he gave the army a 40% increase in salary. He won the elections. We know that when you promise people money, they will vote for you. Now, 15 years on, in the case of Venezuela, they're beginning to see what happens when you make promises that are unsustainable. It is less than a year that we now see some of the same people who are in costume on TV. They are the ones who, when the rank and file vote to do something, they suddenly are not available to carry out what decisions were made by the vote. And they are clearly engaged in a process of distraction, just like the buffoon in the White House, because the issues here in Grenada don't have to do with Venezuela. The issues are much closer to home. And these are the issues that the people of Grenada are crying out to be addressed. So don't try to distract us with asking for solidarity outside the Venezuelan Institute. That is not our concern now. We have more local concerns dealing with governance. So they could put on all the costume they want. Those three clowns are not pulling the wool over my eyes. I'm done.
Well, no, you think you're done. You're not done yet. Hold on a sec, because first of all, Lincoln Roberts here on Facebook says, Allan, maybe you're unaware that Trump knows more than everyone. The generals, the heads of all intelligence agencies, scientists, everyone. No exceptions. Let me hear your first comment on that one.
Yes, I saw the buffoon's reaction to the report from the heads of the intelligence agencies yesterday. He said they need to go back to school, or words to that effect. His stupidity knows no bounds. But you will recall, to be fair, that ever since he announced his candidacy, you asked me the question and I responded. I said the man's a buffoon. And nothing that has taken place subsequently has shaken me in that position.
Okay. Now, Donna Joseph says, yes, Allan, you are so right about that one. Now, you said a mouthful this morning. I'm not sure specifically which one she's referring to, but she says you're
Distraction. I'm sure it's all about distraction.
Yeah, okay. Well, she said you're absolutely right. Now, please, folks, please do me a favor. When you're writing something, try and take the time and write it coherently because I don't always have the time to pre-read before sharing what you're saying with my guests. I see one here just because I'm very anxious to make sure everybody's included. I'm going to try. She says, George, I am so sick of hearing about development in Grenada. Question, is the rural areas not part of Grenada? It semi to me, I guess the person means it seems to me, like the voice of the people in the rural areas will never be heard to help develop their areas. Soon St. George's will run out of space. Shame on those so-called ministers in that areas.
Okay. Now, with regard to rural areas, so let's look at Levera and Chambord Estate, or what used to be an estate. So the developers, one set of developers came and they denuded the piton above the natural ecosystem there of the so-called Levera Lake, Levera Pond. They failed in their attempts, but they managed to build a clubhouse, which the Rotary Club has used successfully. Generally, every year they have a big fete up there, which is very nice. I attend often. I don't know what else takes place. And then some other developers came along, and a local newspaper wrote an expose about the track record of one of those developers and the fact that he was a fugitive in Mexico. But he then withdrew from sight after having had his picture taken on the front page of the newspaper, turning sod with various important people. And his relative, they share the same family name, was on TV earlier this week explaining that after 2 years of this 100 million project, they've completed about 5%, but they're looking for funds. Now, just recently, we heard that some big-time explorers and developers who are going under the sea, that they run out of money too, and they're looking for Chinese money. Now, who is fooling whom? We continue to attract these people who have no money, and we're talking about foreign direct investment. No. Where is the investment? So your contributor is absolutely right. And the environmental impact study, the first part of the study, has indicated that irreparable damage has been done to the ecosystem up at Levera, and that the positive side of it will be job creation and the downstream links with agriculture and services, the usual story. So we look forward to all of that happening.
You know, the part of that story I found very interesting is that when this project was being so heavily touted, we were made to believe that, you know, hey, here comes the foreign investment, citizenship by investment program, and, you know, the money is there, man, so what are you guys bitching about? Well, as I understand it from that story you're just referring to here, of the $110 million that they need for this project, only $8 million have been raised?
Yeah. What do you expect? When it appears that you operate like a magnet to attract international conmen, we've seen it over and over. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to recount history.
Yeah, that one threw me for a loop. Very quickly here, Floyd Nichols says, these are the same people who said there are nuclear bombs in Iraq. He's referring to your comment earlier on. And then Donna Joseph says yes about the distractions and everything that Allan said. She was agreeing with you there. Allan, listen, man, we're almost out of time, but I've got a couple of questions of my own. Um, Mr. Maduro, I hear he's ready to talk with you. Are you willing to sit down and talk with Mr. Maduro?
No, I don't speak Spanish.
Payo?
What?
Never mind. Payo? Okay.
No Espanol.
You know Espanol. Okay, so that's a no-no. And my final question to you, Mr. B, have you...
Oh, sorry. Now that you brought that up, one of those three clowns was talking about, can you imagine that this man just goes in the middle of the street and declares himself president and this and that on the same basis that Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders or whoever it is, they could declare themselves president. No, that is an outright lie. That clown must know that the Guaido, or whatever his name is the duly elected president of the National Assembly. The National Assembly, as I said earlier, was effectively sidelined in May of 2018 by the Maduro government. And then he abolished the Supreme Court and installed new justices. So the Supreme Court is an arm of the government. The economy, the commanding heights of the economy, well, actually it's not commanding heights anymore, it's the depths of the economy, are controlled by generals of the army. He has more than 2,000 generals. 2,000 generals, can you imagine? And all of these people are scraping the bottom of the barrel because that is where the economy in Venezuela has reached. So these three clowns are talking about the economy having been destroyed by the effect of US sanctions. I'm afraid the facts do not bear that out. The economy in Venezuela was destroyed by the looting of a corrupt oligarchy. The same thing, to a lesser extent, mind you, happened in Nigeria, one of the richest countries in Africa in terms of oil reserves. The economy was plundered by the military dictatorship. The same thing happened in Venezuela. This is why that it seems almost every week, some Venezuelan ambassador or representative resident abroad asks for asylum. He's not going back. Presumably, I mean, I don't know that they have enough money to stay, but basically they have spent the last 10 years looting their country. And that is what these three clowns want us to express solidarity with. No way, Jose. That's Spanish, Jose.
Oh, so you do know a little bit of Spanish. Okay, Mr. B, I'm serious. We're running out of time, but I just have to get this one in. I know that you're retired, but I figure that since you've got some spare time on your hands, you're probably putting that spare time to good use. For example, generating sponsors for the upcoming Grenada Secondary Schools championship. I heard yesterday in the wake of the address that was that stirred up such brouhaha last week, the minister was again on television yesterday morning, talking about the upcoming event, and when asked about sponsorships, she said that yes, they've been receiving a lot of calls from people who are very interested, and now it seems like the dilemma they have now is whether or not they just include everybody who wants to help by sponsoring, or whether they become picky and say, well, you know what? We really need just one lead sponsorship. So I want one of you folks to come up with like $10 billion. I'm making that figure out, but $10 billion. How much of those? How many of
I
those
have a,
sponsors have you been generating, sir?
none, but I have a suggestion. You see, I have noticed and two separate locations, one at the top of Market Hill and the other one down by the Republic Bank roundabout, where I saw teams of Hispanic looking individuals doing work on telephone lines. Now, I am not aware that the local landline infrastructure has been unable to obtain members of the local workforce to do their line work. So it would be very interesting to me to find out who are these Hispanic individuals, whether or not it is true that they are all from Guatemala, and if so, what are they doing here and on whose behalf? You know, Grenadians very suspicious.
Of course.
People say that, oh, maybe it's electronic surveillance. I don't know. I don't know.
And I don't want to know. Mr. Brzezinski, sir, thank you very much. Now you can go keep yourself busy with your retirement.
I'm going to harvest some ackee.
Some ackee. So can I expect an invitation?
No, because you have established my current economic situation so that if you want to purchase some, I'll give you at a reduced price of $18 per pound.
$18 a pound?
EC. Cleaned and frozen.
Folks, please have some sympathy on me. Look, you know, he's supposedly my friend. Well, that clears up a lot. Dennis Clark says, Allan is right. Recall that 41% of Venezuela's oil revenues come from the U.S. That's not a blockade.
There you go. It's what you do with the revenue.
And Donna Joseph says, Allan, I heard that they're working on behalf of Digicel. I guess she's referring to the workers you've seen on the streets?
Well, that may be so. Digicel only has, they don't have landline infrastructure. So what's going on? Are they piggybacking on the local company?
I don't know. But I do know that they're doing a lot of work with their fiber. Okay.
So they're putting in data and landlines after only having used wireless communications all these years.
You know, it's interesting. Actually,
who's it for?
Tomorrow, I'm supposed to start a subscription with Digicel because, like a lot of other people, I have a Digicel cell phone, which has served me pretty good. My issue with them had been with their internet, but I received a package last week where for $300 a month, AB, I can get unlimited data on my cell phone, make a note, unlimited local calls, unlimited international calls for $300 a month. Okay? And I have it, oh boy, I'll have to go and look for that, but I do have it somewhere on my computer because up to last night I was looking at this and I thought, you know, hey, this is too good to be true. So last night I wrote to them, after speaking with them last week, I wrote to them last night saying, look, based on your promises, unlimited this, unlimited that, sign me up with effect from February 1st. I mean, come on, can you refuse that offer?
I would look at it a little closer because my package is cable and internet.
You have cable from them?
No. From a competing provider.
Donna Joseph says they may be putting in surveillance infrastructure to who knows. I have seen them in the Wester Hall area a few days ago. Surveillance? Hey, man, listen. Surveillance? Big business nowadays, you know. Big business nowadays.
All right. We should not be spreading unfounded rumors.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you.
But we just need to be aware of the fact that given the nature of our system of governance, that Big Brother is always trying to watch you.
Yeah. And it's becoming more and more of an issue. If you follow what's going on out there, and not that I'm a strong believer in social media, but when you do a little bit of homework, you'll see that this world is headed in a very, very precarious situation as far as your privacy is concerned. Let me see here. Lori Bridgman says, jump on that, George. You'll not get it better. Okay, thanks a lot, Lori. AB, thanks a lot, sir. I wish you a wonderful weekend. Go. What is it? Your Aki? You're going in? Going?
Yeah. Well, by Sunday I'll have some saltfish to put with it.
Aren't you glad you're not living in Venezuela, where it's probably very difficult to find even saltfish, eh?
Yep. Thank you.
See you, AB. Take care. God bless you, my friend.
Bye.
Okie doke, folks. Mr. Allan Baczynski there. And on that note, let me see. 9 minutes after the hour. We've gone way over time this morning. But I do want to part, as we always do, every morning with an inspirational. And this comes to you from the first book of John, chapter 5, verses 4 and 5, which says, for everyone born of God overcomes the world. This is the victory that has overcome the world, even our faith. Who is it that overcomes the world? Only the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. Pilgrims, 1 John 5, verses 4 and 5. And that's especially for some of you who may be struggling with, very trying challenges, but you're trying to get over. Some people have addictions, habits that they're trying to break, and just finding it very, very difficult to overcome. Well, check out the first book of John, chapter 5, verses 4 and 5. And my dear friends, on that note, Georgie Porgy is going to say, hey, thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday morning. And by God's grace, let's do it all over tomorrow morning at 9. So long.